My name's Jez Weeks. I'm a grassroots and community coach specialist. I'm also a coach educator. I started coaching relatively young. I was about 17 years old. I was playing football for Leatherhead Football Club, and at that time we had a new coach called Alex Inglethorpe. And it was during that time that I realised that for the first time that I was actually being coached. His sessions had focus, they had purpose, and as players we were learning something. It made me think about my own career within football and how I might want to be a football coach. So at 18, I started doing my coaching qualifications and I headed off for a summer in the States to go and coach football. I really enjoyed working with young people and I really enjoyed coaching football. So when I came back, I headed down to Exeter University to do my studies. I did a degree and a master's in sports science. And during my time there, I started working for Exeter City. I worked in the community department, at the academy, at the Centre of Excellence. And there were some fantastic coaches there at the time. So when I finished Exeter, I made a decision that I would really like to stay involved in community and grassroots football and coaching. And I got a job at Fulham Football Club in their community department. And I made a decision then that this was my real passion and my focus. At the time, the normal pathway for a coach was to start in community departments and perhaps work through to the academy and through to elite football. But I found that my personal passion was to take young people on a journey. I believe that football is more than just about learning technical and tactical skills. Football has a real opportunity to help young people develop their life skills. And within a community and grassroots setup, you have a real opportunity as a coach to do this. It's often seen though that when you're trying to teach life skills, you have to do that separately to when you're on the pitch. Whereas I see the coaching practice as a great opportunity to actually combine football skills and life skills, be that teamwork, leadership, behavioural skills, decision-making. Whilst I was at Fulham, there were loads of great coaches that we could observe. And what I noticed was that there was a lot of planning that went into it. I actually realised that coaching grassroots football is slightly more complex. There's a lot more uncontrollables. If you're coaching an academy setup, you know the ability, you know the age, you often have good facilities, all the equipment. Within grassroots football, there's often variations in age, in ability, in gender. Some players may have a disability. You may have a lack of facilities, a lack of equipment. And these uncontrollables make it harder for you as a coach. So I took this kind of concept of the need to plan into community football. And I found that actually you could create some really exciting activities where young people would still learn, young people could develop and still develop their football skills. And it was always great. Yes, if a kid went from a community grassroots session onto the academy, yeah, that was fantastic. But actually, if a kid decided that they loved football and wanted to play for the school team or just were going to have a healthy lifestyle, then that was just as important. After my time at Fulham, after working at the Olympics at London 2012 in the football and Paralympic football tournaments, I took a role at the Premier League as a lead coach educator on their international programme, Premier Skills. And what I've learned there is that it's really important within grassroots and community football, as well as all coaching, but specifically around this area, to actually share your experiences. A lot of coaches within grassroots football are often quite on their own. If you're at academy, you have loads of other coaches, you discuss, you're quite open with each other. In community football, you're often on your own with a bag of balls on a wet Tuesday evening with some young people. And actually bringing grassroots and community coaches together as a platform to be able to share their knowledge and experiences is a really good way of creating a coaching community. If you deliver a fun, engaging and inspiring session, then they will want to carry on playing. And that's so important in grassroots football. And that's so important within community football because your elite player, they already have a passion. Sometimes in grassroots football, you may only have one session with a player and they might go, I might go and play another sport, or I might just not play sport at all. If you provide a fun, inclusive environment for them to learn and grow, then you've done your job. I think during my career as a coach, I've developed what I would like to call a player-centered approach, where I like to put the responsibility on the players within the practice. I like to put an emphasis on them learning, them making decision makings. I hope that they have fun, and often that energy will come from me. I'm quite an energetic, enthusiastic coach, and that is often reflective in the practices. As a player, during training, I had quite a short attention span, so I make sure that my activities move quite quickly. There's lots of progressions, but again, those progressions can be determined by the players. I think it's important that players are consistently moving, they're active, they're engaged, because sometimes within grassroots football, you may only have them for 20 minutes, 30 minutes within, say, a school lunchtime or an after-school club. There's not always the luxury of a nice 2-hour session. So they want maximum touches, they want to enjoy it within potentially a short amount of time. My key philosophy, though, and my learning from all of my coaching has been that a player needs to experience what I like to call a yes moment. If a player is participating in a session, if they have an increase in self-esteem, then they will enjoy the session and they'll come back and participate again in football. It's your role as a coach to set up many opportunities for a player to experience that yes moment. And in my practice that I'm going to demonstrate today, I hope to be able to demonstrate that. Lots of little opportunities for players to experience success. If they can't experience it, how can I alter it as a coach? So perhaps if they're a good player, how do I make it a little bit tougher for them? If they're perhaps not such a good player, how do I change it slightly so they still experience success? The idea of differentiation is really important to me within my delivery. And how can I tweak the activity so that they always can experience success and they have that yes moment? And that yes moment might be experienced them learning something as a football skill or learning something as a life skill. People often have a misconception that kids don't want to learn. Kids love learning. Kids really like learning. It's your role as a coach to set up a session where they do learn and that they enjoy it. And that is often harder than you think.
Today's session, we're looking at shooting under pressure from close range. There are 3 main objectives to today's session. The first, to develop a player's ability to shoot under pressure, being aware of defenders before they close them down. The second is to ensure a player's understanding of the importance of a good first touch. And the third is to develop a player's decision-making and execution when shooting.
Jez Weeks' course will develop players' ability to shoot under pressure. His session takes players through a series of practices that focus on striking the ball early, taking an appropriate first touch, and decision-making and execution when shooting. The session begins with a warm-up in which pairs of players aim to knock over different coloured cones with shots. Weeks then takes players through 2 practices. The first is a technical shooting practice in which players are split between 2 parallel games. In each game, 2 attackers aim to score as many goals as possible against a defender and a goalkeeper. The second is a conditioned game in which 2 teams compete to outscore each other.
The practice today is all based around what I call a middle goal. By placing the goal in the middle, it has 2 main benefits. Firstly, balls aren't flying all around off the pitch with players spending time to collect them. And secondly, it makes the game more continuous because players have to react after a shot has gone through the middle goal to the other side. The challenge within grassroots and community coaching is that often we see a lot of line drills, especially within shooting. You have 10, 12, 15 children lined up, laying the ball off to the coach. Who lays it off, they have a shot. This causes several problems, both for the coach and for the player. It's actually quite hard to coach technique when you're standing there laying the ball off, but also you have behavioural issues of the players, and the players just don't get many shots. By placing the goal in the middle and making it a player-centred approach, you're hoping to increase the number of shots that the players will have, and throughout all the elements of the practice today, the players hopefully will have lots and lots and lots of shots, because if you're creating a scenario within your practice where they're shooting, then they can actually develop their technique. We spend a lot of time practicing shooting from distance and from the edge. However, so many shots and so many goals are scored in the 6-yard box or just around the penalty spot. So this practice again is focusing on that element. The warm-up, it's a fun game, but there's still a real purpose to it. I'm going to set up the middle goal with a penalty area marked out with flat markers, just to give some kind of distance so players don't go right up to the goal line. I'm then going to set out a series of coloured cones along the goal line, and each pair will be allocated one of those colours. And simply they'll be asked to shoot and knock down their coloured cones. Every time a shot happens, their partner will receive the ball. I'll ask them to go to the outside of the square, turn, and then they've got to make a decision. Do I shoot from distance but I can shoot quickly, or do I dribble to try and get a little bit closer? You might have a player that's playing at an academy, but within the same after-school club, you might have a player that's first ever time playing football. So by setting up the practice like this, you're allowing them not you as the coach to decide how far they're going to shoot from. And that's a common theme throughout this. They decide, am I going to shoot close or am I going to shoot far away?
This looks like a penalty, so can you try and get it here and get that little nick through the near post?
The technical practice, we're going to be moving into a 2v1 scenario. There's 4 players in each square. One player will be a goalkeeper, one player will be a defender, and then that'll be against 2 attackers, creating a 2v1 because the goalkeeper will stay in his marked out penalty area. There are 4 balls on the 4 corners, and what we ask the attackers to do is use all 4 balls, one at a time, to go and receive the ball and then have a shot at goal. Again, they can decide which ball, and then they can decide whether they're going to shoot early, whether they're going to play a 1-2 with their teammate, whether they're going to try and dribble and beat the defender. But decisions with that main question in their head of, can I shoot? If they get to that corner, get the ball, and the defender is still on the other side from the last shot, can they get that early shot off? What I'm hoping is that the players will take ownership of the game. I'll let them decide who's going in which team. I'll let them decide which order, but I'll also allow them to reset up the practice and then to start it going again. And I don't just want competition within themselves, which often happens in shooting, where it's just you versus the keeper. I want them to feel a bit of competition between their teammates within the activities. I'm going to create what I call a parallel activity. So the same setup is right next to each other. It allows me to work in smaller groups, but as the coach, it allows me still to be aware of what's happening on both practices. And this is a really useful technique when you're working in grassroots coaching, because I could essentially do multiple parallel activities. It also allows a little bit more of one-to-one time with players. If you've never played football before, you don't want a coach shouting out, right, everyone stop, and go in and deliver. You want to be able to go to them and say, look, how about you think you perhaps could do this with your first touch, or how about you dribble with the ball closer to you? The condition game will be a really nice, easy transition from the previous practice. I'll simply need to take out the centre line, and then I'll have my setup, which will be 2 goals with the penalty areas around them. And then we'll play a 4v4. There'll be 3v3 in play and 1 goalkeeper, and I'll allow them to play normal football. However, they can shoot both ways through the goal that they're striking at. This again will create an added element of both, if you haven't got the ball, can we react similarly to if we're trying to get someone to perhaps be a poacher to get the rebounds, can you react to where your player might go? But also allow the players to start helping create space for the player with the ball. It might be that you take a really wide run out, allowing for that opportunity for the player to shoot. What I'll be asking them there is to not be afraid to shoot. I really want them to think that the area we're working in is no bigger than really a penalty area on a full-size pitch. So as soon as they've received the ball, whether it's from one of their teammates playing it in or from the goalkeeper, can they shoot? And if they see a small glimpse, can they shoot? And then as a group, we might discuss if they have taken that decision to shoot, have I chosen the right technique? And I hope also we might get a few elements where we do get quite tight into the goal, and some of the techniques that they looked at and practiced during the warm-up around kind of creative shooting, maybe with some tricks and some flicks, we get in that condition game as well.
In the warm-up, players must aim shots at cones placed on a goal line marked out by poles in the middle of the grid. Players should be divided into pairs, each of which should be allocated a colour and have 1 ball. Tall cones, in colours corresponding to the colours of the pairs, should be placed on the goal line and serve as targets for the players. Each pair should work together to knock over the appropriately coloured cones with shots. After each shot, whether successful or not, the player who receives the ball must dribble to the outside of the grid and perform a turn before taking another shot. As the goal is in the middle, players should be encouraged to take up positions on the opposite side of the goal to their partner. Players are not allowed to shoot from within the penalty area marked out around the goal. As the playing area is congested, players must be aware of the space around them and their pathway to goal. If players knock over another team's cone with a shot, they should replace it. Weeks coaches players to think about the technique they're using to strike the ball, and how to balance power and accuracy when shooting. He coaches players to be ready to react to their partner's shots and position themselves appropriately. The session is designed to be adaptable for groups of different abilities, depending on the success rate of the players and to ensure that they are being challenged at an appropriate level. The coach may vary the activity by increasing or decreasing the number of cones each team has to hit, the distance between the cones, and the size of the penalty area around the goal. The coach can add competition to the activity by making teams compete to be the first to knock their cones down.
This session is looking at you to develop your ability to shoot, but under pressure, okay? Everything we're going to be doing within this session is in and around the area. And it might not always be your long shots or your power drives. Sometimes might be more of your your Mo Salah little flicks, okay, when you're right in tight. Because think how many goals we score when we're actually inside the 6-yard box. Okay, so many finishes. And we also have high levels of expectations, don't we? I'm sure we can all think of a few times when a player has missed one inside the 6-yard box and we all go, oh, he's missed an easy chance. But yet we don't often practice in and around the 6-yard box. So I want you to think about shooting under pressure, the importance of a good first touch. My favourite word again, decision making. And that question I want you to be thinking about all the time, can I shoot? Okay, can I shoot? If you have a chance to shoot, I want you to shoot. We're going to start with a warm-up. For all of our activities today, the goal is not in our traditional place at the end of the pitch. The goals are in the middle. And the reason they're in the middle is because I want you all today to have as many shots as possible. As many shots as possible. And if I stick it at the end, every time the ball goes out, people have to go and get the ball. If we stick it in the middle, then actually it's a lot more of a fluid game, but you're still practicing the same technique. You're going to be working in pairs for our warm-up. This is our area here marked out with white cones. For our warm-up, we're just using this half. There's our goal in the middle with the 2 yellow poles, and then we've got a series of targets along the goal line. You'll have 1 ball between 2 of you, and what I'm going to ask is that you try to knock down your allocated coloured cones as quickly as you can. If you shoot the ball and it goes through the goal, and whether it knocks over a cone or not, your partner should ideally be positioned in line so they can easily receive the ball and get another shot off quickly. That might not always be possible. You might have to run to get to that place. But my idea is that both of you aren't on the same side, so it's a more continuous activity. There'll be other players shooting at the same time, so you're going to have to be aware of those balls. But to add a little competition, it's a race as well. So if I've got the ball here, and I'm, say, pink, I'm going to try and shoot. I can choose my technique. I can come really nice and close, and it's a small tap in, or I can be further away, and it's a longer drive. So I aim for my cone, and my partner will receive it. So if I come in here, if I shoot the ball, knocked over that pink cone, that stays down. If I'm the partner now, I always have to go to the outside. So I take the ball to the outside, I do a turn, I come in, I look for my next pink one, I strike the ball, oh, I've knocked over the blue. I have to put that blue back in. Then my partner would get the ball. Have we got that? Okay. Go and spread yourselves out around the area. If you've got pink, go and stand up your cone quickly. And it is a race. The first team to knock over their 3 coloured cones wins. Remember though, that's fine, you can start over there, you can do whatever you like. Remember, you don't always have to come to this white line to do it. If you receive the ball and you've turned and you want to have an early strike, go for it. Play! Got to turn, get to the outside. Nice, well done. You have to go to the outside, well done. Yellows have only got 1 to go. Oh, he's done, well done. Superb. So who was that time? Orange, okay, stand your cones back up. Same game again, however, this time every time you need to come to the outside line, so one of the end lines. So if you receive it, you're going to be coming at the goal from a slightly different angle this time. Okay, does that make sense? So you're not taking it to this line, you're taking it to the two end lines. Okay, you ready? Play. Okay, so now we're approaching the goal from a slightly different angle. Do you go close? Well, no, they've got to put it back up. Put it back up. Ah, well played, Blues, well played. Okay, superb. So just come in a minute, guys, come in. Just stand your cones back up quickly. Now we're just going to play around with a few variations. What I would like us to do is now just to make the penalty area just that little bit bigger, all right? I'm going to do that, but also I want you to try and challenge yourselves this time. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, but I want you to start trying to challenge yourself. So rather than bringing it right all the way up close to the line to have another go, as soon as you've turned, can you shoot? We often talk about teams when they go, oh, they're trying to walk the ball in. Because as soon as I start adding defenders into this game, they're just going to be standing around the edge, aren't they? Okay, so let's move the penalty area out slightly, okay? Everyone just take it one step back. I'm increasing the challenge by adding in another cone for each of you. But I now want you to think about your own individual challenge. Yes, you could keep walking it in close, but can you try and strike from a further distance? Okay? Think about, this looks like a penalty area. This looks like a penalty area. So can you try and get it here and get that little nick through the near post? Think about a realistic game scenario within our warm-up game. You can take it to any part of the edge now. When you're ready, play. Don't forget to take it to the outside. Nice, better guys, superb. Some good strikes coming in now. Nice, good. Now can you get a strike on early? Can you get a strike on early? Well done. Which team's done already? What colour? Yellows, well played, yellows. Oranges, you still had 3 up there. Well, I'm the oranges there. Okay, pop it back down, we'll play one more time. Interesting there that you're having a few discussions now about why you were successful and not successful. Just take 1 minute, go and find your partner and have a quick discussion on what made that team or what made successful in that activity. But why not? So is it down to your accuracy or something else that happened?
A bit 50-50.
Okay.
I hit one cone and I think I hit one cone.
And then the other two were already down.
Went.
Someone must have
Okay. Okay. All right. Interesting chats there. What we just picked up was that sometimes they were saying it was a little bit my fault and the others somebody else's fault. And what I mean by that is it's when we're talking about the controllables and the uncontrollables. So when you're shooting, what are the things that you can control? Your technique. So you can control your technique. Yeah? And what kind of things are you thinking about when you're thinking about your technique? Yeah, so different techniques, and we'll go on to that more within the technical practice. What can't you control when you're shooting? The other people, okay? But a defender is trying to get in the way, aren't they? So rather than just focusing on your technique, you've got to be thinking about your technique plus what the others are doing. Okay, so this time, we're warming up our bodies and our striking of the ball, but also let's just start to warm up those decision makings that we need to make through this practice. Play. Nice, well done. Don't forget, you've got to take it to the outside. Don't forget to take it to the outside. We're going to keep going till you're all done this time. Keep going till you're all done. Keep going till you're all done. Go on. All right, keep going till you're all done. Who's still going? Pinks, keep going, pinks. 1 to go, pinks. Oh, yellows as well. Yellow one still. Well done. Yellows. Still one yellow and one orange. One more yellow to go. One more yellow to go. Can you strike through that? One more yellow to go. You can get closer now if you want to. Here we go, come on. Well done, okay, well done. Okay, and just bring it in, guys, bring it in. Bring the cones in for me. A quick, fun, energetic warm-up, but what I wanted you to start thinking was there to get your shooting boots on, so to speak. Because within this practice, we're gonna start to make this activity a little more complex, introduce some 2v1s, some 2v2s, and we're gonna end up with a 4v4 as well. But as we move on in the activity, make sure you're thinking about those decisions and the things you can control, your own technique, but also perhaps those things that you can't control, the goalkeeper, the defenders, etc.
Practice 1 is played using the same setup as the warm-up, but now players are split into 2 groups of 4 and play in parallel games. In each game, one pair should attack against the other, who act as a defender and goalkeeper. 1 ball should be placed in each of the 4 corners of the grid. Attackers should use the 4 balls to have 4 attempts on goal. Each attack begins with an attacker collecting a ball. They can dribble and combine with their teammate and should attempt to beat the defender and goalkeeper to score in the goal. Players can score from either side of the goal, but attackers cannot shoot from inside the penalty area. To begin with, if the attackers take a shot, the defending team wins the ball, or the ball goes out of play, that ball is dead and the attackers should collect a new ball. The attackers can use the balls in any order. Once all 4 balls have been used, the teams should switch roles. The game should be played 4 times so that each player is the goalkeeper once. Competition should be encouraged between the parallel games to add an element of pressure, with pairs competing to score as many goals as possible. Quick play can be encouraged by the coach awarding a bonus goal for the first pair to use their 4 balls. Weeks coaches players to choose an appropriate technique when shooting and to keep their shots low and on target. He coaches them to be aware of the goalkeeper's position and to try to strike the ball early before defenders close them down. He encourages them to think about how they can create opportunities to shoot and score by making and maintaining space, quick movement, and creativity on the ball. To develop the practice and make it more continuous, players can be allowed multiple shots with each ball. Now, after a shot, as long as the ball is kept in play by the attackers and not won by the defenders, the attackers can have another attempt with that ball. Pairs can now score as many goals as they can with each of the 4 balls, as long as the ball stays in play.
So during the warm-up activity, as I mentioned, we were getting our shooting boots on. We were starting to think about our technique. We were aiming at some targets. We were coming in close. We were coming a bit further away. But it was unopposed. It was an unopposed practice. It was you against your teammates from a target point of view. Now we're going to move into a smaller game of a 2v1 scenario. The actual setup though will be 2v2, but when you're playing 2 attackers versus 1 defender, your other teammate will be in goal. I'm going to show you the activity, then I'm going to look for a small bit of ownership from you guys to run the activities. I'm going to separate you into 2 groups of 4. Within the 4, you divide yourselves into 2 teams of 2. 2 of you will be the attackers, the other 2, one will be in goal, the other one will be the defender. You have 4 balls that you have 4 opportunities to score a goal. And the challenge is to see how many goals you can score out of those 4 balls. Once you've done the 4 balls, you switch over, you reset the game yourself as a 4, switch over, the other team then go in goal and the defender. Once they've had a go, switch again, but rotate the defender goalkeeper, and then you'll rotate it for a 4th time. So essentially you're going to play the game 4 times, but I'm going to let you guys manage that. So they might not finish at the same time. You'd have to wait for the other group to finish. So that's from the management point of view. From a technical point of view, keep it low, keep it on target. That's what I'm looking for you guys to do. Keep it low, keep it on target. From a decision-making point of view, can you shoot as early as you can before the defender has an opportunity to close you down? And when I show you the setup, you'll understand what I mean about the early shot. So if we're a team, we've got 4 balls. 1, 2, 3, 4. We can choose any ball we want to start with, and we can take the balls in any order. We can also score from either side, okay? Once we've had a shot, though, that ball is dead to begin with. Obviously, you are going to be working both sides, which is why the early shot is important. So we will just run through it. We'll just do 2 balls just so they get the idea, okay? So I'll go first. So I'll say, I'll get the first ball. Are we ready? Play. So I'm going to run down. I'm going to get this ball. I played it up. Can you get that shot off? Well done. There's the first ball. Get the second ball. Get the second ball. Okay. Yes, play me. Oh, keep it low. Okay. So we're going for 4 balls. Once we finish those 4 balls, we reset and switch over. When you're ready, play. That ball's dead now, that ball's dead, that ball's dead. Get the next one. Get the next ball, well played. One ball left over there. Good running. Great block there. Good early shot there. Okay, if you finished your balls, reset. Just so you know, if I stop one of the pitches, because I want to talk to you about something, the other pitch doesn't have to stop. Okay, so if I stop one pitch, the other pitch doesn't have to stop. When you're ready, play. Great early shot, well played. Good reaction there. You okay? Good save. That's all 4. Okay, just come over a minute. What do you notice about the shooting techniques you're using in this game? I'd say there's a lot of variation in what you're having to use because the scenarios are changing, aren't they? This isn't a repetitive drill. I'm not asking you always, right, you're coming to the same place and striking. There was a great goal a minute ago where you've dropped your shoulder this way, you've come in, and it was a left foot, little swing round finish. Gonna say about old Mo Salah because he's so good in and around that 6-yard box where he's just nicked it over. So what I want you to think about is, yes, can you shoot, but actually what technique am I going to use and can I be a bit creative? Can I let it run across my body and just knock it gently in the corner? Can I nick in front and try and get it in there? And if you're not striking the ball, are you ready to react? Okay, because now what we're going to do is that the ball stays live until it properly goes out. So if you strike and the keeper saves it, you can come in and get the rebound. If it strikes and he misses, you can come in and go again. Ball is dead by the defender literally kicking it out or the keeper getting it and just rolling it out. Play when you're ready. Oh, that's dead though. Get an early shot in. Get an early shot in. Get an early shot in. Try and get that shot lower there. Nice, fantastic finish there. Low, hard in the corner, well played. You got one more? It's still in, it's still in. Creative, nice, well done. Okay, set your games up, last time through. I am gonna be looking for goal of this session. If you wanna be creative, use some flair, Let's see some tricks and flicks in and around this area, because they're there though with a purpose, to try and sell the defender, sell the goalkeeper. This isn't just about low hard in the corner. This is us being creative in and around the penalty area. Are we ready? Play. Great play. Oh, good save, goalkeeper. Good finish, well played. Oh, he's gone for the chip. Still got one left here. You still got one? Oh yeah, got two left over there. One ball left over there. Oh, he saved it. Okay. Set up, come in. I've got one more challenge for you. I'm now going to add an element of competition in between the two pitches. Okay, between the two pitches. This is to try and replicate a little bit of this, shooting under pressure. It's quite hard to replicate game scenarios. However, I'm going to try a little bit, and that's just going to be under pressure. So which pair is on here first? Or which pair's on next? So you two, and which pair's on here first? Okay, so it's you two versus you two. And what I mean by that, you're still playing the same games, but let's see who can score most. Okay. All right, are we ready? Let's see which half wins. Ready? Play. Good finish, well played. 1-0 this end. Oh, that one's gone out. Still 1-0. Oh, is he going to get there? Good strength. Can you get a finish off? Can you get a shot off? Oh, VAR still in. It's still in. It's still in. Great finish up that end. Nice side foot. Caressed it into the corner there. I think I've lost count slightly of the score. Great finish. Have you still got one left? One left. How many did you get? 3. How many have you got so far? 1 from 3. Ah, he's got the finish there. Okay. What was the score? 3. What did you get? 2, 3, 2. Set it up one more time through, just so the other pairs can have a go on there. Set it up. There is a bonus point available this time. This is again to try and increase that competitive element. If you strike your 4 balls first, your team gets a bonus point. So if you score none but finish first, you still get a point. Up here, if you score 4 but finish second, you'll be on 4. So, make sense? So just want to try and speed you up as well. Are we ready? Play. Oh, he's rushed it. Oh, good finish there. Oh, that deserved a goal. They've nearly finished. They've only got 2 balls left here. Taking their time and they're missing. 1 ball left in that corner. It's their final ball. Can you get your final ball? Get your final ball. Who's going to shoot first to get the bonus point? Ah, he's done the shot. Got the bonus point in there. Okay, so how many goals did you score? How many goals? Oh, yeah, you got 0 with the bonus point. How many did you get? 2. Oh, still get the win despite the bonus point. Okay, over we come, guys. Over we come. Interesting what you just said there. Just repeat what you said there. Okay, why did you choke it? Okay, because what did I do to the situation? Okay, as soon as I stick competition, as soon as I stick time in there, suddenly we start to panic and sometimes we lose a bit of our technique. But that's why these practices are important, to put you under pressure, to challenge you in and around the area, because we all think as soon as we're inside the penalty area, is that easier or harder to score? Well, we think easy, which is why I watch all you guys up there and you're all practicing your striking from 30 yards. But most of the goals are scored in and around the area, but we spend our life practicing outside the area. Get yourself in those areas
when you're practicing, get yourself doing 2v2s, 3v1s in and around the penalty area. How do you think some of these strikers that are, I didn't go and look up the percentage of goals that Salah has scored inside the 6-yard box? It's crazy. And then start practicing. But well done, guys.